Hello traders and welcome back to another market update. My name is Nick, and in today's video, as per usual, we're going to take a look at the currency market and look for some technical analysis points as well as some potential trade setups and ideas for you to consider in your own trading. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start out by taking a look at EURUSD here, and what you can see here is price is still respecting this trend line that we've been talking about here on the chart. You can see again we're looking at the 4-hour chart, and for the most part what we see here on EURUSD is we see the price making a movement to the upside and holding this zone very nicely, right? You can see price is bouncing nicely off of that level of support, and going forward it looks like price still wants to respect that area for the time being. Now we do have some levels that we would likely want to see broken if you're a bull on EURUSD. Whoops, you can see if I just grab this level here and we draw out this trend line, you can see price has formed a lower high here, and realistically if you are a buyer, we'd like to see this level get broken to the high side. Something like this could give you a good trading opportunity. If you see a break and retest of that structure, you might have an opportunity to catch the break and the continuation of this EURUSD movement to the upside. On the other side of things, if price decides to break through this level, that is also a trade that you could be watching for a potential breakout and retest zone or kind of structure entry along this recently broken trend line. Either way, there might be some good trade setups coming with EURUSD, so definitely one to watch. Let's go ahead and take a look at GBPUSD. GBPUSD pulling back a little bit here. And you can see on the daily chart, we are seeing a potential short-term top. And if we draw a Fibonacci level, we'll draw from the swing low to the swing high here. And you can see that there's a couple different levels that we can talk about here. If we back up just briefly, this zone here, if we change this to a highlighter, we can take a look at the fact that this zone here looks like a potential level of support if price can start to pull back. This previous level of resistance held very, very nicely for bears, and now may actually be a level of demand if price comes back to that area. In the same way, we also have this level here along that 61.8. Both of these levels look very interesting to me, especially just because we have so much structure there previously, as well as an overall bullish momentum on the pound for the time being. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is going to be USD JPY. We can take a look and see what's going on with dollar yen. And what we see for the most part here is that we do have a level of resistance that we can point out right here. You can see along this level here that has been holding for the time being. We're seeing some consolidation recently around this zone, which is looking very interesting, which might signal that we may see some sort of pullback here. Now, where would we see a pullback to? That's a pretty good question. And I would say that the first stop for a pullback would be along this new trend line that we're seeing forming on dollar yen. Again, we have a level of resistance along the top here. As price comes into it, it looks like we might want to roll over. And if we do roll over, again, looking to see that price could come back to that trend line there. And we also have some levels down here. You can see that this structure might be a further target if you're a little bit more patient and looking for a further reversal if you're selling USD JPY. Just some ideas to consider there for you. Let's go ahead and move on to Brent crude, which did make a movement to the upside recently. You can see on the daily chart, we are holding this zone here down at the bottom, right? Price is holding that area very, very nicely. We did find demand and have pushed off of the lows. In fact, we're even testing right now a level of resistance right around this area, and it looks like price for the time being is very, very bullish, and it'll be a good question to see if we can break through this level. If we do see a breakout on this, if we see a break further, what this could be telling us is that oil here has decided to make a bullish run, and that something like a retest could give you a really good entry to ride that momentum to the upside. Just an idea there. Let's go ahead and move on to WTI crude, probably looking pretty similar. And what we can see here is if we zoom in, again, holding these lows very, very nicely. What that showed us is that this area down here was a bullish zone. It was a very strong level of kind of support there. Now let's talk about some fibs here. If we draw a fib from high to low, it looks like we have a little bit of a clearing. We've broken through that level of resistance here at that 38.2. Something like the 50% level or the 61.8 might be a level to look for if you're a bull here. Maybe some levels to take temporary profits, or if you're a seller, you could look for some opportunities along that Fibonacci retracement level. So let's move on to gold here. Gold making a movement to the high side recently, and I want to point out what we see here happening on gold. If we draw a trend line, this level here is looking very interesting. So as price has been coming back into kind of test this level of resistance, right? We've seen sellers step in and push price down each time. Now though, we are testing once more, and will we see it break or not? It looks like price is starting to want to try and break here. If price can close bullishly, what we would see here, at least in my opinion, is if we see a bullish close on this candle, that would be a big rejection of this kind of trend line level of resistance that we do see, and then that could signal that we may see some continuation to the upside. However, if price closes bearishly, that would tell me that this trend line is still in control by sellers and that we are likely to roll over. So watching the end of this candle will be very, very important in analyzing gold going forward. USD CAD is our next one, which continues to fall. You can see price falling very, very sharply, but this level here is something that I wanted to point out. These lows here as price comes into kind of this area is going to be interesting to watch if we can catch some sort of bounce. In the longer term kind of trend, USD CAD has been very, very bullish, and to me this seems like a possibility to find some sort of value along the lows. If we back it up to the weekly chart, you can see that the long-term movement here has been to the upside, and even if we back it up further, you can see long-term bullishness on dollar Canadian. And so for the time being, as price is pulling back, we could see a long-term entry here if you're a longer-term trader. GBP JPY, taking a look here at the 4-hour chart, we have one level actually I'd like to look on the daily. We have some zones and some levels of support. If price really starts to pull back for real, then we could see price head all the way back down to somewhere like this 50%, 61.8 level to test this zone of previous resistance down here, right? The market often likes to test levels of support and resistance that it's recently tried, right? It is kind of a natural way to find new buyers or new sellers to continue to push a trend. That's why we so often see markets moving in waves, right? So it's almost natural to see something like this if we're going to see a healthy uptrend on the pound. Let's go ahead and take a look for the last one at GBP Canadian, which is also similarly has some structure that I'd like to point out. You can see that this area, if we draw our fibs once more, we can see that the 50% level in this case looks pretty interesting. We'll insert a rectangle. You can see this level here. Right, this level looks pretty interesting on the buy side. If price can pull back to that level, it looks like price wants to give us a little deeper of a retracement here. And if we see that, then this might be an interesting level for a potential entry. Of course, just an idea there. And as always, you could look for confirmation or things that you like in your own trading. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. I hope you got something out of the video. We'll catch you next time.